On tonight's episode of Thursday Night Therapy, there is an epidemic going on between predators like Ayesha Howard, who recently had a child by Anthony Edwards, who received $100,000 for an abortion, but she kept the money and still had the child. Check this out.
I'm beautiful and have a nice body. And normally women like that attract a certain caliber of men, which is also not my fault. And now that I am in yet another situation where I now have a child with another successful man, there's no telling you guys that I'm not a gold digger.
Got to be more careful. Now listen, his other baby's mom, Shannon Jackson, didn't care at all because she responded with this video.
Big girl said I would unbaby daddy him. If I got to unbaby daddy him, I got to unbaby daddy the first one. Damn. I say this. Y'all just finding out. Or y'all just, like, all this stuff that further comments up, you were saying that I was hurting on the inside or whatever the case. Give me a screenshot of your bank account with your name on your ID, and I'm going to send you a screenshot of my bank account, my ID, and my name on it, and then we're going to see.
Yeah, that bank account must be on deck, boy. But listen, tonight we talk about that and our child support laws fair to men. Let's talk about it. This is my father, Big Chuck. He taught me the pimp mentality from the crib, so I was never faithful in any relationship. Until one day, 6 years ago, I looked at all the broken hearts and pain that I caused and decided it was time to level up. So now I'm a happily married man who still doesn't stand for the trick mentality that is destroying our community.
I'm Champagne, a single woman on a journey to build a life rooted in self-love, balance, and authenticity. I'm exploring the ups and downs of personal growth, embracing independence, and creating space for joy, peace, and purpose. Whether you're on a similar path or just curious about the ride, this is your space to feel seen, inspired, and empowered.
I'm Dante. I'm the realest of the group. I'm once married and now divorced and dating as a single father. Here to bring a grounded perspective, pushing past all the fluff and getting to the heart of what really matters. Welcome to Thursday Night Therapy. Champagne B, what's poppin' on the intro? What's up, baby?
I can't hear the music. Welcome to Thursday Night Therapy.
Oh my God.
Things you talk to your therapist about. The show where we dive into the good, the bad, and the downright awkward conversations we all have, or maybe should have in therapy. Tonight's topic, are child support laws unfair to men, and should women with kids stay single? But before we get into that, please take a moment to like, share, and subscribe. Hit that notification bell so that every time we go live, you know when we are up. Just a reminder, tonight's topic, are child support laws unfair to men, and should women with kids stay single? But first, let's talk about current events. Let's get into it.
Hey, what's up, everybody? All right. First of all, listen, man, this is a deep topic, right? So I want to give everybody a disclosure that's listening. This show is rated R tonight. There is going to be some cussing. So if you're offended, then log off right now. Okay? All right. Now listen. As you've seen in the pre-show about Anthony Edwards and this young lady, he allegedly took, like I said, $100,000. He gave her $100,000 to perform the abortion and to actually hide the baby because because he didn't want it to get out. He just wanted to pay the hush money, and then she ended up taking the money, and she's still pressing child support on him. Now, recently there was a rumor that he had actually gave her like $1 million up front to pay for the whole 18 years, but I don't think that that's true. You know what I'm saying? Because I think they cleaned that up. I don't think he paid that $1 million because the thing is he hasn't gotten his max contract yet. So regardless, if he would have paid a prorated rate for 18 years, you can always, every couple years, you can go up on your child support. So after he got that max contract, I mean, if it was $10,000 a month, it would have probably went up to like 50. You know what I'm saying? I mean, it's ridiculous because he's gonna get about 300 million. Trust me, because he's a young guy, he's in his prime, and he's doing his thing. So yeah, it's gonna so he's gonna get it. But the thing is, and what makes it so messed up, what people are feeling the situation is because he wanted to just pay for the money and he don't want nothing to do with the kid. at all. He wants to just pay the money and you leave me alone. That's what he's saying to her. And everybody's in an uproar about it. Now listen, and I want feminists like Champagne sitting over here.
Yeah,
you should be rallying for this guy, because if you're talking about equal rights, he's actually performing an abortion with the kid being alive. He's saying, listen, I made a mistake. I don't want nothing to do with the kid. Take the kid and you go on about your business. Even though you took my $100,000 and you still had the baby, I'm going to still give you a cold million and just say, forget it. So this is the same thing that happens with females when they make their mistakes. And Champagne said she wanted equal rights. So this is equal rights right here. Listen, I've talked to women and listen, man, I mean to tell you, y'all are treacherous when it comes to this abortion thing, man. I don't see how you so indifferent to it. I talked to some lady and I was just asking her about, the abortion thing, because, I'm against abortion. You know what I'm saying? And she was like, well, shit, if it's my fetus, then I delete it. I'm like, damn, you're acting like it's just an inanimate object that you can just delete and just not care. We can't do that as men. When if we get you pregnant, it is totally up to you whether we have a baby or not. Women can have an abortion. You could drop the baby off at a place and just give it up for adoption with no responsibility to the kid. We're on the hook for 18 motherfucking years, and we can't do nothing about it. They're going to take our check and everything. And the most fucked up thing, and like I said, let me make this disclaimer again. I got to put this thing down here again. This show, hold on. Let me say, this show is rated R tonight, okay? So listen, and not only that, when you get taken for child support, now I done been through this shit. That's why I'm so passionate about it. When you get taken for child support, you don't even have built-in visitation in the shit. You know what I'm saying? They could take your damn check and you don't have no rights to see your child. You got to pay and go to a separate court just to have visitation with your kid. You should have some type of standard visitation built into the shit. At least give me every other weekend, couple weekends out of the summer, damn. But no, you got to go and pay extra money just to see your kid. You know what I'm saying? Like I said, if as a feminist, if you want equal rights, then the man should be able to say fuck it if you don't want the kid the same way the women can say fuck it. It's not morally right on either side, but it's equal. You know what I'm saying? But it's not the truth. There's a fucking hypocrisy that's going on in the United States. What you got to say about that, Champagne?
Men can sign away their rights to their kids. They don't have to be involved.
No, that's not true.
You can sign away your rights.
Only if somebody else
go to court.
That's not true.
You can also
only
go
if
to
somebody else
court.
adopts a kid. It has to be an agreement.
It is true. You can also go to court and you can file for custody of your children. You can do that.
Yeah, see, that's why her shit went out, because she was talking some bullshit.
You can go to court and file for custody for your kids, okay? One of the things I never do to hear complain about child support, my dad, one of them, I could go downtown and file for custody of you if I want to. Nigga, do it. Go file for custody. Someone has to take the kids, too. If you have one kid, I can fuck with you in your argument. This dude got how many baby moms? Like 3, 4? You know what sex is. You know what happens when you put your dick in a woman. You get her pregnant. Point blank period. 2, men don't carry kids. So there's not really equality in that situation anyway. Until you guys start carrying kids, there's no equality in that childbirth situation. The best thing that you can do as a man, the best thing that you can do, be selective in who you have children with and use protection. I wouldn't have sympathy for a woman who's out here getting smashed by deadbeats. I don't have sympathy for a man who's out here smashing deadbeats. And all these women are deadbeats. They're deadbeats. So, accept responsibility for your situation.
Hey, man, listen, man. Y'all are cutting up today. Y'all done started off this show on fire, giving out disclaimers and going all crazy. I give a disclaimer, too. Listen, you ain't got to like everything everybody say. You just got to like something that somebody say. Okay? So if you don't like everything everybody say, you can still stick around if you like something that somebody says. So, Pete, I just want to address the motherfucking $100,000 that was given to her for the abortion in the first place, talking about this current event. So, Payne, in this particular scenario, she's given $100,000 to get the abortion and basically keep the situation under wraps. She keeps the $100,000, decides to have the baby anyway. Should that man in that scenario be paying child support?
I think she's foul, but I think that unfortunately, yes, you lay down, you got her pregnant, she's having a kid. Like this is it's unfortunate. I feel for good dudes. I don't feel for Anthony. But guys just want to go from what I'm understanding, dudes just want to go around be able to bust in women and have that women carry the burden of having an abortion.
Well, hey, hold on now, because there's a population of women who are the ones who agitate, the ones who push the lack of contraceptive. They are women who actually are pushed that. It's not always just men. Just I don't want to use this. I want to. It be on the other side too. Don't act like y'all don't do that.
I don't do that. No. But also at the end of the day, you have to have responsibility for yourself. If you are a basketball player, you know these women are foul. Like this is not new. I don't understand as men why we are pretending that this is a new phenomenon, that there are hoes out there. They have women. I think Brittany Renner was out here teaching classes on, hey, there's hoes out here. This is what they're going to do. Watch out for it. We can't keep excusing idiocy. We can't keep excusing that. They've been taught this. And he said, nah, fuck it. I got money. I'm going to have sex and I'm going to get, somebody pregnant. These are poor choices. And if you are a dude who don't want to have kids, you have to do what you need to do because this woman is not looking out for you.
Okay, hold on. We're gonna get to some of these comments. All right. Let's see. Odessa says, "I know so much about child support that I can tell you the secrets about child support that men and women don't know to keep them out of jail." Right now, remember, like I said, I got 4 kids by 4 different babies' mamas. I know this shit for like the back of my hand. Like I said, yes, you can file for custody of your kids. I did have joint custody of one of my kids. But the only reason why I had joint custody was because she agreed to it. You know what I'm saying? Now, the other one I was taken to get custody. She had mental issues and shit like that. But, it was still all favored towards there. It's automatically by default going to go towards the woman unless she's a danger to the child. Automatically. I don't care if you go by percentages and this shit. Unless a woman is a danger to the child, it's going to go to the woman. Trust me. I've been through this shit. But anyway, okay, let's go to some more topics. Okay, now we got Madison on here. Let's see. I need to go say if a woman can kill her children with no problem, men should be able to abandon their children. Abandonment is better than death. I don't agree with either. Now, again, like I said before, Champagne, you've been talking about equal rights, but that's not equal in what you're saying. You're saying that a woman's action can be excused, but a man's action can't. That's a double standard right there. That's hypocrisy. See, I told you. See, every time some real shit come on, you see what she disappeared. You feel me? She out of here. You know what I'm saying? She got bad connection because it was some bullshit. But I'm just saying, listen, there's a complete double standard when it comes to this issue. And this has been, like I said, when we talk about women's rights and things like that, if you really want to have equal rights, then this is a topic that you have to explore, man, because it's unfair to the man because it's unequal. We do not get the same benefits of just being able to just discard any type of our bad mistakes. And women can do this. I know women that have multiple abortions. You know what I'm saying? And continue to do it, even into their 30s or whatever. I mean, this type of things happen. We all make mistakes. Nobody's better than the other. But if you're talking about equal rights, then a man should be able to say, fuck it, just like a woman can. Because that's fucked up. Because I trust me. You get somebody pregnant, I'm like, man, fuck, man. You know what I'm saying? You just like, but you can't do nothing about it. It's like, look, my youngest baby's mom, I had sex with her one time before she got pregnant, right? So then she calls me up, and then how she breaks the pregnancy to me? She's like, hey, good morning, Dad. You know what I'm saying? She threw the shit up in my face, bro. She knew that it was going to be a life full of fucking hell fucking with her. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. She knew she was going to bring me hell because there's nothing that I could do about it. I made a fucked up mistake, and there's nothing I can do about it. You know what I'm saying? And I think if all things were equal, then there would be, like I said, there would be a lot of less kids in this world. You know what I'm saying? But again, remember, I am against abortion. So just to let y'all know that.
Oh yeah. After all that, against abortion.
No, I am.
I've experienced similar, so I know exactly what you're talking about. And I saw a video on social media recently, man, where it was a young man. I guess they were outside of an abortion clinic, and it was a young man pleading with this pregnant girl, essentially to keep their child. She was making the decision to abort, and he essentially was in tears, crying, "No, please don't, please, please, please," was begging her and all of this other stuff. He doesn't get a choice in that matter. So I do agree with you that if a woman wants to terminate, kind of like Madison said, I mean, if a woman wants to terminate a pregnancy, she can, no questions asked. So if a man doesn't want to be involved, where's his out in that? And second thing, I've experienced the same. I had a situation where young lady, same thing, bro, got pregnant first time we got physical, and we agreed on an abortion. We were gonna go half. I come up with half. She says, "No, I think you should pay the whole thing since you don't want it." So I'm like, "No, I ain't gonna do that. We need to handle this." And what ends up happening is I end up having a child. So to your point, I didn't have any choice in that. No matter how hard I pushed, no matter what money I brought, I didn't have any choice in that. And you're absolutely right. It's the other way around. Women have absolute choice.
That's right. Hold up. Before we go to champagne and shit with that bullshit, let's read this comment.
Read a bullshit comment.
Black women have aborted over 20 million babies. Damn.
Oh, geez.
Black women.
You pull that out
Man,
of
some
ass.
countries aren't even 20 million. Black women are queens of abortion. The lead raises in abortions 38%.
There are a lot of countries that don't have to.
Yeah.
Lord have mercy.
It's a lot.
We already know Madison
We
don't
need to
like
fact
black
check
women.
that.
Just get your white queen, bruh. Call it a day.
We need to
Okay.
fact check that. Don't be attacking that man.
Get your white queen and call it a day. Listen here. First of all, there are women who have children and the men are not involved. There are women who men begged them, please have this baby. Please don't abort it. I'll be there. I'll take care of it. And they have these babies. And guess what? Those dudes do not take care of it. You're looking at a situation of she's doing the majority of the physical work. Some of these women can't have kids, so this is their last chance. I agree that there's some... I mean, guys are selfish. You had unprotected sex. You hit it raw. You made her a single mom.
Oh, so she ain't like that?
She did not. You have to protect yourself. There is no way that you could cut your nose off to spite your face. You know what? We went through sex ed. Chuck, he a little older, so he may not have. But Dante, you and me went to sex ed. All right?
No, we had sex
We know
ed.
what it is.
So
you did have sex ed, so you know how pregnancy occurs.
Of course, and you do too.
Okay.
So what's your point here?
The point is you have a choice, and the women
You
that
do
you get
too.
pregnant, these are not like stand-up type of individuals. These are not like,
and you're saying that the women are. Hold on, back up. Okay.
No, I said the women who some of these guys are getting pregnant who are doing this. These are not stand-up type of women. These are not wifey type of women. These are trash individuals. You got caught up. It's like getting an STD. You got caught up.
The guys that the women mess with ain't shit either. What are you talking about?
Yeah. And
it goes both ways, Champagne. You can't
and they're stuck raising the kid.
Okay.
And they're stuck raising the kid.
Yeah, but the government steps in though to make that man play a role, even if he doesn't.
Taking our check before
and
we
don't
see
work
it.
that other way.
He should. It is a consequence of your action.
Then what about your consequences then?
Because she's taking care of the baby. Yes.
What?
That's
But now
consequence
she
of
has an
action.
abortion. She's not.
Do you think abortions are fun?
Well, I didn't say they was, but I'm just saying.
Y'all think abortions don't have emotional or mental trauma? That's still emotional or mental trauma.
Saying, listen, I'm just saying you have an option to do that if you don't want the responsibility, and we don't. That's all I'm saying. You won't even admit that part. But listen, hold on, wait a minute. Before we go further, Madison says he don't fuck with white women for the record. Okay, my dog. Okay, and also I want to go ahead and cue up. Hey, I knew this shit was gonna be juicy. Like I said, everybody, if you just tuning in, this show is rated R. It's gonna be a lot of cussing because this is some bullshit. Okay, hold on. We got hold on. Wait a minute, where we at? Okay, we're gonna go into now. This is another take from this chick, his baby mom. All right, hold on. Listen to this shit.
And I compared the men that you have children with to the men that I have children with. And I said, you were digging for poverty when you picked him to be your baby daddy, weren't you? Oh, you kept that baby for an extra income tax credit, didn't you? And food stamps, didn't you? Or you kept that baby for an extra Section 8 voucher. Is that why you kept your baby?
Now, as you see, She was very calculated, and she's very condescending on women who have babies by ordinary guys. You know what I'm saying? To get, Section 8 food stamps and things like that. This is a game that's being played by a lot of women. And as you see, the BBL game is a big trap, man. Is a big trap. A lot of people are falling for it. And like I said, I don't take none of the responsibility off of the guys that get trapped with it, because I mean, come on, dude. You could tell just by the way she already had a baby by a little baby already. You know what I'm saying? And they passing her around and you gonna have sex with her unprotected. I'm not taking any responsibility off of it. All I'm just saying is he gave her 100 G's for the abortion and she kept the money and still had the baby. Like, damn, like what kind of rotten person is this? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. She is absolutely, like, do not misunderstand. She's foul. That is horrible. You made an agreement. He didn't want to have a kid. I would never have a kid with a man who doesn't want to have a kid. And in fact, when I dated men, that would be a question of, if I got pregnant, what would you do? If the response was negative, it was nothing positive. It's like, all right, I'm not sleeping with this guy. I know where to place him in life. People don't have this conversation. Women don't have this conversation. Men don't have these conversations. By the time you have these conversations, it is way too late. She is foul. She's a foul individual. I'm not saying that I agree with her. That's fucked up. She did a fucked up thing. But at some point, just like with women, where I have to tell women, like, you got to look at the men that you fuck with. With men, you got to look at the women that you mess with. Like, there has to be responsibility on self at some point. But she's fucked up. She's foul, though. But I don't think that was I don't think that's anything shocking. Like, if I did that, I can see where, like, why, Payne, I never thought she'd be someone like that, because you guys know me. But her, you see it. It's obvious. Why are we shocked? If you have sex with a hood rat who's poor and broke, why would you be shocked that she keep the baby?
I agree.
And I do think it is unfair that there are women who keep the kid and men have to keep, the men. I do think that's horrible. I think that's horrible. I think that's one of those things in life where there's some shit that it's just unfair in life. I don't know that you can really even up that point, because you're looking at something that's happening on an emotional and physical level. There are some things in life that we can't be equal about, right? Men are stronger than women. You guys are physically stronger than us.
Oh my God.
You're physically stronger than us. You're
I know that.
stronger than us.
Of course.
There's nothing equal. We'll never be equal in sense of physicality. That's something we just got to eat.
So in other words, you're only a feminist when it's convenient.
No, I'm always a feminist. Feminism
is
equal rights, but you
want equal rights. It don't matter then, right? Everything should be equal. It shouldn't even be male or female. It should just be, hey, if this person can say fuck it, this person can say fuck it. Right? We're equal, right?
Well, rights don't have anything to do with physical strength. Men are stronger than women. I said rights don't have anything to do with physical strength. I get what you're saying. Men and women are not equal in a lot of different ways. Physical strength is definitely one of them. I get what you're saying. But related to rights, that's something different. I understand what you're saying.
It's different because there's a third individual involved. That is what really makes it harder to be equal. Because now you're doing like, what's that show? I don't want to say American Housewife, Handwife's Tale. You're going to a handwife's tale where you're sitting here and you're forcing women to have abortions. What's to stop a dude from lying and saying, I never said that I could have that kid, and now we got forced to get an abortion? It's a very delicate topic. If you got pregnant by someone who's going to make 500 to 700 million in earnings, I don't believe you or any. Why would they? I don't understand.
Nobody
even as a man, if you got Oprah pregnant, y'all remember that skit by Dave Chappelle? If you got Oprah pregnant, you would be like, oh shit, Oprah, nah, that's my baby mom. Nah, you be on pictures. You're not gonna be talking about no abortion. You're gonna be like, Oprah, stay home, put your feet up. Let me rub your feet.
Right now.
Like, it's just, I think if the roles were reversed, men would do the exact same thing. And I think it's just upsetting that you guys can't do that same thing.
Yeah,
that's what I feel. You guys can't do it.
The rights aren't equal. Exactly.
Y'all guys, if we can get you guys to start giving birth, though, if we can get y'all pregnant.
We don't have uteruses.
We can do it.
Just like you don't have penises either, okay? There
are
separate sexes, right?
There are separate sexes, but these are
what
one of the things why you can't make it equal. I get it. And I feel sorry for guys who are actually like good guys. Like you accidentally had sex with like a whore, you know, a chick who's horrible. You got her knocked up. Like I feel bad for those type of dudes because it was just like you are a really legit good dude. I feel so horrible for it. And you know, I feel bad for that individual. I don't feel bad for this basketball player because this is like what his third kid or something like that, third or fourth kid.
But
he got 4 cases right now, man. He out here.
Listen, but Champagne, all I'm saying is about that. You're talking about you don't feel because he got 3 or 4 kids. Women have. Do you realize? Listen, my daughter went to Spelman, right? Mm-hmm. And part of the Spelman clause is they will pay for 2 abortions. You know what I'm saying? While you're attending that school, like it's already built in that you're gonna make mistakes. This dude is in his early 20s. You know what I'm saying? So he been out here. He got money. All these bad women throwing it at him, and he hasn't been taught properly how to say no to them. So it happens with college women as well as men as well. It's a universal thing that people are going to make mistakes. So you can't say one person is dumber than the other. It's all dumb shit. Like, come on, let's keep it real here.
One baby, okay, that's a mistake. 4? Nigga, come on, that's intentional.
No, it's all mistakes because you wasn't married to that person.
At some point, if you are a millionaire, you can afford to buy condoms. You can afford to carry your own condoms all the time. You want to. What happens is you want to shoot up the club, but you don't want responsibility for shooting at the club.
Women do it too.
We don't know.
But y'all don't like it.
Women are not. We don't know that these women are not the ones that are encouraging this behavior to have sex without protection. We don't know that.
We don't know that the women are encouraging them?
We don't know that these women aren't the ones encouraging having sex without protection. Women do that too. Your assumption based on your comment is that these men want to shoot up the club without any responsibility. I'm telling you, there are women who often are the ones who lead the charge on, we're not using that.
Then you as a man say, I can't sleep with you. Or, nah, I'm still using a condom and I'm bringing my own. Like we've had sex ed. If you know that if you lay down with a chick, even with the condom, they still teach you there is still a percentage that you can get pregnant. There is still a percentage that you can get pregnant with condoms.
Right.
Even
only
if these women are encouraging,
that's right.
You can be abstinent. I as a basketball player, absolutely recommend you being abstinent or getting a vasectomy. Absolutely. You don't want to do it. You're not going to do it because you want what you want. So if you want certain things, you got to pay consequences. If you know that hoes are out there and hoes are out there. We've seen this. We have seen this. Hoes are out there. I know that there are niggas out here who don't take care of their kids. I do not sleep unprotected with dudes. Because they're not going to, I don't know who's going to take care of the kid and who is not. You have to have that thought process. And like I said, they have training for basketball players. So don't come here talking about, they don't know. They have training for them. Deion Sanders, I think he even does something for like football players where he educates you on the whores. Stay away from the hoes. And that's y'all's problem. Y'all can't leave these hoes alone.
Right. And okay, good. That's a good segment. Deion Sanders had some chick named Brittany Renner actually come to campus and talk to his kids about the games that women play because she played a lot of them. Okay. Now, I'm gonna bring up this is Brittany Renner right here, as she says she's converted to Islam after being a freak in the streets for I don't know how long. Okay. And now tell me if this sounds genuine. Hold on, listen to this.
First of all, Allahu Akbar. I've gone through a lot of changes internally. And as a result, my outer world has completely crumbled. And when the facade fades and all the BS is cleared out, it makes room for what has always been for you.
Shout out to bullshit. And then, all right, and before I even disclose this, and before we get to the next topic, this was Brittany Renner less than a year before she was dressed up in a hijab claiming Islam. Check this out.
You think what? No.
Miss Ma'am.
No.
No,
Miss
come on,
Ma'am.
please. Come on, man, please.
No.
Come on, man,
need you
please.
to. I need you to be kind and respectful to my guests.
Oh, boy, come on, man, please.
Where that pig poker at, man? Go ahead. Go ahead and get the pig poker out. Wait a minute.
That was her less than a year before she wore the hijab. Now, like I said, people do change, but like I said, she already juiced PJ Washington out of child support. She did the same game that the other girl did to Anthony Edwards. She got the check, and now she did all this stuff in the street. Now she's claiming that she's Islamic and stuff. If you heard the beginning, I know we couldn't hear it that much, but she's talking like she's Arabic. She said Allahu Akbar, and all. She's talking like stop. You trying to talk like you an Arab? That's why I know it's fake. You know what I'm saying? But anyway, listen. Let's go ahead and pivot. And we're talking about these type of women. Let's pivot to our second topic. And remember to like and to subscribe to this page. We really appreciate it. Like I said, please come back. We try to come up with juicy topics every week so you guys can get involved, but we need your input. Please send us any ideas that you have. Please comment, share, because we're trying to blow this page up, man, because we're talking about some real stuff here. We ain't talking Hollywood talk. Like I said, we talking from the streets. Like I said, shit, when I was getting my child support taken from me, shit, they was taking half my check. I would have like $20 to last me 2 weeks after they cut my check up between 3 different females. So trust me, I came from the gutter. Okay, but anyway, let's get on. Let's get on to our topic today. Okay, now should women with kids stay single? Now listen, there are so many disadvantages when you have a kid, and when you're dating a woman with a kid. There's so many different disadvantages that you have. And the first thing that I will say that, dating women with kids, the women, their kids will always come first. We talked about that before. They always come first. That's just their priority. I mean, it's just human nature, to protect your kids so they become self-sufficient enough to be independent. So we get that. So and as a man trying to date a single woman, you got little kids that come first. You know what I'm saying? And and when you come in, a lot of times them little kids is cock blockers, man. I went over people's cribs. The dude was sitting there playing video games, and he stayed up late because I was about to smash his mother. You know what I'm saying? And that's a big disadvantage. You know what I'm saying? Because these kids will try to hate on you. They'll make up lies about you. You know what I'm saying? If they don't like you, you know what I'm saying? And because they want their mom all to themselves. And I'm gonna just say one other thing that I want to say. When you're actually in a relationship, like, man, listen, women be saying like their kids eat first and shit like that. Now, where the hell you get this shit from? I'd be damned if I'm sitting up here paying bills and for the food, and you let this little nigga that's playing video games eat before me. And now, if it's a baby, like a little baby that needs to be fed that's whining, okay, I get it. But you're gonna tell me your kids eat first? A little 8-9-year-old kid is gonna eat before me, and I paid for this motherfucker? Man, I don't know. This world is upside down, bro. I don't know where this shit comes from. That's why I say it's hard to date women that have kids that are single. You know what I'm saying? I'm just glad that the wife that I married now, all of our kids are grown except I have a little one, but our kids are grown. We don't have these type of problems. I don't have to deal with it, man, because it's a very hard obstacle to overcome when you're dating single women with children.
Listen, folks. That's why we got to stop having these babies out of wedlock out here in the first place, man. Even all of this who eat first conversation or whatever the case. What if that 8-year-old was your seed? I was married with children for a while and I was able to experience that. And you know what? I don't mind my seeds, my juniors, literally my seeds eating before me. That should make me happy to see my kids eat. Order don't even fucking matter when it's all family. But when we start to do that, stepchildren and step and all of this other stuff, it's a little bit divisive because you're absolutely right. Often the children are not allies in the first place. Often the children make it difficult for you in those situations. Often you have to fight your way through when, like you said, I'm paying and doing all these things. And often that child is the most ungrateful, the one that doesn't say thank you, whatever the case, and they're living the freest. At least their mama got to come in here and throw some cat and some head and put in on the light bill. You just scot free in this motherfucker. So no, I do definitely get it. And being in those situations, um, the children don't make it easy, but we got to stop having kids out of wedlock in the first place. I think when it's family, for real, it all aligns and it all sets up perfectly, and we don't have to talk about things like that.
Okay.
I
Before you go,
agree.
Champagne, let me read this thing from Madison again. Hold on. I wouldn't fuck with a single mother other than sex. I'm not fucking with her on anything serious. Another man's kids are gonna come before me. I don't care. That's why I wouldn't even fuck with them on the serious tip.
As a
Chuck
person
just
who
so tickled by that shit. This nigga leaning back.
he just hey is that your friend, Chuck? Is that your friend? That's
Man,
who you hang
Chuck
out with?
is kindred
Actually, look,
spirit,
I
man.
grew up with him. I can't even front. I grew up with him. That's my
We can
nigga.
Okay,
Though.
all
tell.
right.
We can tell.
Dante say we can tell. So I am the only one on this panel who doesn't have kids, and it wasn't by accident. I didn't have an abortion, and I don't think it matters if you did have an abortion. Like that's your business. The point I'm saying that is it was by design because I was raised by a single mom. And raise your hand on this podcast if your mom was a slouch or if you have a shitty mom. Okay, so
Don't talk
a lot,
about my mama.
right, exactly. A lot of our moms, 100% of people in this podcast, our moms were good and decent mom. And my mom, she did it all. And because she did it all, I was like, oh, I'm not trying to get married. I'm not trying to be a single mom because that was a lot. Like your kids are around all the time. I know I had to get on my mom's nerves. As soon as she stepped her toe in the door, I got questions. Where's the food at? Can you help me get on the internet? I got you get no rest. So for me,
Lazy motherfucker.
so for me, I knew that I never wanted to be a single mom because I just didn't think it was fair to that child to only have that mom. I do believe that there are I don't know that a woman who has kids should not date. I do believe that if she is dating, she shouldn't bring no dudes around her kids until they're getting ready to get, unless there's a proposal, and that's where you had to introduce each other. I say that because there's a lot of men out there who prey on single moms. They prey on that single mom. They come. You guys ever watch this actress named Pat? It's like Miss Pat's House is on BET. She's a bigger lady. She's a female comedian.
Yeah, I've seen it.
I haven't seen it.
So she, okay. So she's like, she's funny. She's funny. And she had a book, and this is just an example, and this is one of many. But her mama was a single mom, and she had 2 kids, and her dad walked out of her life. So she's trying to, get it together. Her mom was married. Dad walked out of life. She's trying to get it together. Her mom met this dude, and this guy was everything to her. She took care of the kids and everything. He took care of the house and everything. The mom fell in line, was submissive and everything. All the while, he was molesting the daughters. He was molesting the daughter for years. And there's a lot of guys out there who prey on single women, and they see they have kids and they do these weird things to these children. So I don't think that you should bring your children around your kids. I didn't even know my mom dated. She just popped up with this dude and was like, hey, this is Mike. And then in a couple months they were engaged. I'm sure I wouldn't even know. I don't think my mom is, because she's a fucking saint. But if my mom was a hoe, because she's not, but if she was, I would have never known it because I would have never known it because she did not bring men around me. And I feel like there are single women who have all kinds of men around their kids. Also, as a person with no kids, as if I was a man, I had no kids, I wouldn't date a woman with kids, because when I date men with kids, which I have, they do have to put their children first, and they should put their children first. And if they didn't put their children first, I wouldn't want to date them because they're not a good man. So all in all, I just rather not date a man with kids because he's going to have to put them first, which is fine. And if he didn't, he's a horrible man, but he needs to be with someone else who has kids. So I don't know about single, but definitely you shouldn't be bringing no dudes around and smiling in your baby's face.
Right.
Yeah.
Now let me just comment off, and I want to just bounce off.
Comment say, Dante?
Which I just want to comment off of what you just said, right? My thing is not necessarily.
Said, and if you get serious, you would have to get a bigger house with more rooms for her kids. Okay. I mean, if you guys, and this is where it's kind of like you don't like her and you don't like the kids, and I think those kids remind y'all of other niggas, so that's why there's so much contempt. But when I dated men with kids, I loved the kids. Like there was no, I love the kids. I love them as if they were my own. One of the kids right now, we have an amazing relationship. She's a great kid. I see Desi all the time, and she calls me. She's amazing. She calls me on Mother's Day and everything. Like, I have an amazing individual. But there were other kids who don't fuck with me, and that's cool. But it was never like, I never looked at the kids and was just like, you and those damn kids. Like, that never was me, because if I love the individual, I love the child.
Right. But like I said, let me just comment too. I want to bounce back on what you were saying. If they don't put their kids first, then they're not a good person. It's not necessarily, this is how I look at it. It's not necessarily about putting your kids first. It's just putting them in their place. You know what I'm saying? Let a kid be a kid. Let an adult be an adult. Don't come into my conversation. And when I'm talking about certain things, I think sometimes, like, people, especially what I notice with single mothers, they try to be cool with their kids, like they, like your homeboys. I know I've dated women. Well, I ain't dated them, but I smashed women. They were smoking weed with their kids when they was in high school. Like, their kids was in high school, they smoking weed with them. Like, he's not your friend. This is your child. You need to raise your child. You know what I'm saying? So I'm all about putting them in their place. Be a kid. Don't come into my business unless I allow you into it. Like I said, when it comes to responsibility stuff, as far as like maintaining the household, doing your chores, doing what you do to make this place go, they should be a part of that. But when it comes to other things, you be a kid. Don't be talking crazy back to me. Be a kid. I just see it's so much disrespectful. Like when Eddie Murphy's comedy came out, when he came out with Eddie Murphy Delirious, I think it was Delirious, when he was talking about how white kids talk bad about back to their mom, like, damn, mom, fuck that. We black people, we was like, because that wasn't in our culture at the time. But fast forward 30 years later, now these kids is talking to their moms the same way, and it's disrespectful. And I don't think kids are put in their place, man. And that's like a problem. Like, it's already hard enough when you're dealing with relationships in general, because you got basic things that you have to overcome as a couple. But then when you add in the kid factor, and you know what I'm saying, and then you got the baby daddies that you might have to deal with, the discipline and things like that, then it makes it 10 times harder. Because like I said, and when it comes to discipline, I don't never listen. You come, listen, when they make a mistake, you discipline them first and then you forgive them. They can't just cry and get out of this shit. You know what I'm saying? If they did some crazy stuff, punish them first. Now, I know a lot of people aren't with ass whoopings anymore, but put them on punishment first and then you forgive them. But don't forgive them before they're punished. You know what I'm saying? Because they're going to keep doing it and think that they can manipulate you with tears or whatever the case may be, or whining or whatever. You know what I'm saying? So, I mean, these are the types of things that, when you talk about relationships and kids, I mean, it just makes it difficult. Like I said, my first wife, she had 3 boys, right? And like I said, I had 3 kids at the time. And like I said, the way she disciplined, like, like they was pissing on the seat and shit like that. I'm like, look, come in here, man. Wipe this shit off. You want your mom sitting on piss, dog? Like, I had to instill shit in them, like, as a man, like, no, man. And you take your ass out, you take the lawnmower, you cut this grass. You like 11 years old, bro. It's time for you to cut grass. You know what I'm saying? Just little things like that, man. You just got to deal with, other than just straight up, relationship wise stuff, man. And it just makes it a lot more difficult, and then at the end of the day, if shit don't work out, just like it didn't work out with my ex-wife, I spent a lot of time with them kids, even though them motherfuckers was weirdos, but I spent time with them and they don't fuck with me right now. You know what I'm saying? So it was like years of wasted time that I put in. And now, like I said, they with their dad or whatever, and they doing whatever they do. But it was, like I said, it was just a waste of time because we didn't make it. So the kids, was collateral damage.
Tisk.
Okay.
The black community, my goodness. I really hate this part, y'all, because, in reality, when you approach family the correct way from jump, a lot of these things alleviate themselves. Discipline is not a problem when it's you, your wife, and your 3 children. Who eats first is not a problem when it's you, your wife, and your 3 children. The talking back, or the having them clean up, or whatever the case, or mom having your back when you discipline, and all of those things, they aren't a problem when we do the family construct the right way. Husband, wife, children. You guys mentioned, when you have children and you're out here dating with children, your children are your priority. You got to put your children first, etc. But when you read the Bible and it talks about the sanctity of marriage, what order does it tell you that it goes in? We're all living out of order in the first place. That's why there's no way I can come into your life and fit this role of boyfriend and eventually husband and king of this castle when your vibrato is I have to put my children first. We living out of order. And if you started that way in the first place, it ain't never gonna work. So my thing is this. First of all, I know a lot of people aren't gonna want to hear this. If you have children, if you're a young lady with children, more than one, because I'll get to if you have one in a moment. If you're a young lady and you have more than one children, my opinion is it's best to sit back, raise your children, increase your value as a woman for when you do eventually go back onto the market so that you can procure the husband that you want. Now, if you are not going to go with that, because I know most of you ain't going to listen to that anyway, I'm going to give you this tidbit of advice. I want you to think about what you're asking that man to do. Literally think about what you're asking that man to do. You're asking him to take on you and your children to protect and provide for. My man in the comment mentioned earlier things like bigger houses, things like more fees, more groceries, whatever the case, more holes in your wall because you got stepkids or whatever it is. There's more. Now, you want that man to take that on. That's fine. In the midst of that, while your child who is on this free ride is being unappreciative, ungrateful, and doesn't treat this man correct, I need you, baby, to give that man a little extra of all those things that your child isn't giving. Because what happens is that motherfuckers who get in free rides, who are ungrateful, is annoying as fuck. And then when the
It
person who's supposed
is.
to be your partner next to you, who also sees it, says, "Boy, you'll be okay," it's unattractive. There's nothing about this that makes me say, you know what? I want to give my life for these people. I want to die for them. I want to spend every last cent that I have making these people smile because of what they do for me. They don't do shit for me. So if you're going to do it, I want you to think about, realize what you're asking that man to do, and I want you to make sure that you give extra in those areas, especially in appreciation when you see that your children aren't doing it.
I agree. I also look at you gotta look at how people raise their children. Um, my my mom raised me in a way that I wasn't disrespectful. So when my stepdad came along in my life, um, it my mom I was a well disciplined child. I didn't talk crazy to my stepdad. He ain't hear that you ain't my daddy anyway, because I knew my mom was gonna get in my ass. Dante,
Mm-hmm.
your baby's mom, she had her kids
Mm-hmm.
as respectable. I think that's something that when you look at dating a woman with kids or a man with kids, the guys I dated, I know old dude said that dating dudes with kids is easier. No, it's not. If you have a good dad who actually has full custody of their child, no, it's
Yeah,
not. You're still
it's
paying
the
for
same.
those kids. You're still helping those kids out. You're still sacrificing your sleep and your time to help those kids. If you are dating a guy who has full custody of his kids, it is the same as dating a woman with full custody. So I've been
Yeah.
blessed to have men to date. Well, I don't know, I'm blessed, but the guys I dated, they always had full custody of their kids. So I could see it, but that discipline thing was big. And when you complain, because you can't put your hands on the kids, so when you complain to their dad, you want to feel heard. And if he just sits there and hits you with a or doesn't do anything or say anything or discipline them, it will make you
Yeah.
start to turn you off. And then you'll start to not like the
Mm-hmm.
kids and you start looking at them like, I hate you, little nigga. Like you just don't like them anymore. So
Yeah.
it's important to see how people raise their children and raise their kids to make sure that they align with what you want to see and they align with how you raise your children.
Yeah,
Right.
before you jump in, Chuck, I want to just comment on Champagne's comment related to, yeah. I have a stepson. My stepson and I have a great relationship. And it's large in part exactly what Champagne said, because I did have the backing of his mother. If he would have said, it was known that if he would have came for me, that she got his back, so he was going to lose either way. I think it's kind of when you have those parents who play both sides of the fence, who, oh, well, he's just a kid, don't talk to him like that,
Mhm.
or that's not your
Mhm.
child, you shouldn't be disciplining him anyway. It's
Oh, I
when
hate
there's
women like that.
that, you'll never win. So I mean, if you're in that situation, you literally have to have your man's back. He has to come first before
Yeah.
those children, and that's the only way that it's going to work.
That's a good
Because
point. Go ahead. I just
even
wonder.
if you get,
No, go ahead. Go ahead.
I was gonna say, because even if you get married, and Dante goes to the Bible, even if you get married in the Bible, it still tells you that you guys got to cling on to each other. And even, I know people hate Will and Jada, but years ago, Will and Jada they were like, who come first, your husband or your kids? And it's your spouse. Like, y'all need to be team us against them, because those kids are going to run game on you. They're going to sit here and plot and plan on you. So it
Yep,
still has to be
got
team
to.
us, even if
Only
they're
way
your
it'll work.
step kids. Yeah.
Right. That's a good point. Let's go over some of these comments. Okay, Thomas Lytle, dark skinned twin, says once
This
your
shit was
child
funny.
calls you bro on a regular basis, the
Yes.
parental line has been erased.
It's
Right.
over with.
And then he said, and you allowed to, shame on you. That like I said, there has to be some type of level of respect between parent and child. I mean, come on now, like that. It's just not healthy for a kid to think that he's on your level. You know what I'm saying? Now maybe like, and really, I mean, even like to this day, like I said, I'm in my 50s. My I have two daughters in their 30s, and they still my daughters. Like, y'all ain't on my level, bro. Like, y'all still gonna come to me for counsel and things like that because I have more experience than you. And it's good that I can be that person in my family that people can come to. We're supposed to, as we get older, we get more wisdom. So yeah, so I still, of course they cuss and things like that, and they are themselves, but there's still a line between that parent, child relationship that we still have and we will always have. You understand what I'm saying? Okay. All right. So and then there's other things too, that are problems when you're talking about should women with kids stay single? I mean, because remember, man, just think about this. They've already dealt with a person that's gave them a child, or children. So how much more, and even their first child or whatever, is not, after you've had your first child, it's not going to be the same any child after that, because that's your first time doing it. So how can me coming in here, be able to actually top that when they have their kid there and all that, whatever, because they have to protect their kids. So that's another thing too, because you're talking about the dynamics of relationships and things like that. That's why I say for me, it worked out really well with me, because like I said, my wife's child, he's grown, you know what I'm saying? So it's not like he's interfering with anything in the house dynamics as far as decision making or anything like that. It's like we're both it's like we young again. It's just us two. You know what I'm saying? So it makes it a lot easier and more, manageable when you're dealing with, just you and that other person. You know what I'm saying? It's really hard. Like I said, I came from both sides of the spectrum. I mean, I was young and I seen, the men that my mom was dating and things like that. And I didn't like a lot of them. And the ones that I did like, she didn't like. You know what I'm saying? I wanted my mom to be with a nice guy, but she didn't like nice guys. Like I said, this dude came over and changed her flywheel on her Nissan and all that. And he did everything that she wanted him to do. And I was like, man, this guy is cool. I want my mom to be with this guy. But no, she didn't like him because he wanted to shop at the white grocery stores. That's why. Okay.
That's why.
Mom, that's fucked up, Mom. Yeah. That's fucked up.
Okay. I read I can't remember, it was a book by Iceberg Slim. What was it? Pimp. And
yeah, one of the greatest books that ever been written.
I won't say that, but what I will say is he brought up a good point. A lot of people make choices based on the trauma that they've experienced. And so he grew up. If you don't know who Iceberg Slim is, you're probably not black, but he was a pimp. What was it, like the 1940s or something like that? He was like a pimp from way back.
Yeah, it was like the 50s more so. It was more
so it wasn't during like Superfly. He was like the progenitor of this whole.
Yeah, it was before that, right? Yes.
And one of the things he had talked about was when he was younger, he was growing up. His mom and his dad. I think his dad was like kind of abusive or whatever, so mom wasn't with him. And there was a good guy who came into his mom's life, and this dude loved him. Took care of him. And he was just like, wow, this guy was great. And he was already kind of broken on the inside because, daddy issues. And the mom didn't want the good dude. The mom wanted The little scam artist who sat
Yep.
here and they sat there and stealing, and then the dude ran off and left him by himself. So there
And
are,
he beat his mom up and everything.
yeah, and she liked that. And there's women out here who are just the worst. Like there's women out here who enable their kids, and I hate that because now you have these little monsters running out here trying to date someone like my niece. And I can't have that because you just raised a little monster who has no accountability for herself, who feels like he's King Kong in this BI. And it just creates monsters when she just, like Chuck says, doesn't hold her children accountable, be it male or female. So I personally, if I was a dude, I wouldn't mind dating a single mom, but there has to be consequences and accountability for your child. The first time I see your child do some fuck shit and you hit me with that, oh, he's just a kid, I'm out, because I know that's just the beginning of what's going on.
Yeah.
I let the guy who used to say that about his kids, oh, they're just learning. Nope, pussy dry, I'm out. Because I know that if it comes down to it, you're not going to really look out for me. And I just don't have this type of time to entertain this type of foolishness.
Right. But see, the thing is, the messed up thing is about the household, when you're talking about a single parent, right? Every household should have a balance. You know what I'm saying? There should be a balance between nurturing and discipline. And then when one person has to do all the roles, then it's hard to be both at the same time. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. Like normally, traditionally, the dad was the disciplinarian. Like I said, shoot, man, listen. When I was young, when I was staying with my mom and my dad and my stepmom, the anticipation of getting your ass whooped was worse than the ass whooping itself. It was like, I'll get in trouble. They'll call home to my stepmom and be like, oh, I'm telling your dad, you in trouble when your dad get home. And I was like, oh shit. So I'm sitting there for hours waiting on his ass whooping. And it was just torture. So it made you think about doing anything wrong when you know that discipline is on the way. You know what I'm saying? And if there's no balance, because women by nature are nurturing people, I think some of them have become desensitized to that because they have to be tougher in a man's world. You know what I'm saying? Like our friend Champagne here. But you know what I'm saying? I think that, women by nature are, there needs to be a balance in the household. You know what I mean? So without that balance, it's just hard. It's really a lot harder to raise a kid with balance. You know what I'm saying? Being the one person, and the kid might just hate you because you're the one that's going to distribute the ass whooping. You know what I'm saying? So, it's tough. You know what I'm saying? It's really tough, man. So I think that, women, it's a hard thing, man. If I think that if both of you guys have kids and, and they get along and things like that, it might make it easier. But if he's a single, if you don't have no kids and he's just dealing with your kids and you ain't dealing with his, man, it's rough, boy. I don't know.
I will just a piggyback. Women are more nurturing than men. We are. That's one of the benefits of being women.
Right.
But we're also tough. Like, come on, man. We out here in the fields picking cotton too. In the hot fields picking cotton.
Well,
There's nothing
I didn't say y'all went to.
about picking cotton. Right? That's tough.
You pick some damn cotton.
That's some tough shit right there. These are our ancestors who is out here. These are people out here who, women are having in them to be tough. So for them to be a disciplinarian, there's tons of stories of Big Mama. Oh, be careful for Big Mama, not Big Daddy, Big Mama. You gotta be careful. Oh, grandma's house. Oh, grandma don't play, because that woman has also been that disciplinarian as well. However, when you are a single individual, you have to be consistent. That's where two people come in. Because if you're not consistent, if you give that kid an inch, they will surely take a mile. When there's two of you guys, you could balance off of both of them. Dante, just to pull on there, Dante can be tough, I'm sure. I've never seen it, but he can he can be tough. But what I will say is Dante is amazing with his children. Like, his children come to him when he needs them. He allows his children to be. He's not over toxically masculine to them. He allows his sons to be who they are. And when I mean that, like, it's not, no, boy, what you crying for? Shut up. He not, I remember there's dudes, when I used to watch sports, they would punch the shit out of those kids in their chests because they messed up a game out there. So when these young men are growing up and they have these emotional issues, they're like, I don't know how this happened, because you punched them over a peewee game. But that's all I have to say.
Okay. Well, that's about our time. Any final thoughts before we get off air? Let's start with you, Dante. You got any final thoughts about this topic?
Yeah, man, I'll try to make it quick, man. I know y'all not gonna listen to me, man. First advice, don't do it. Don't date with kids. Relax, sit back, gain your market value back. I know you're not gonna do it, so I'm gonna give you some tips to doing it. If you're going to date with kids, find the right partner. And then second, put your partner before your kids. It doesn't sound right, but it's gonna feel great.
Okay, what about you, Champagne? Last thoughts.
Be mindful who you bring your children around. If anything, don't bring your children around. You can be out here in these streets, they do not have to know it. But your children are really precious, and there's a lot of predators out there who are hoping that you slip up. Don't.
All right, look, my final thought is this. Like I said, we talk about, like I said, the women being tough and all that. Listen, when I was young, when there was girls that didn't have a daddy at home and it was just a mom at home, I wasn't scared to go over there. I would sneak into the windows. I could be over there or whatever. There was no fear at all of the mama. She might yell at me or whatever and run me away, but that's it. But if the daddy came and caught me in the bed with his daughter, he might kill me. You know what I'm saying? So there was a big difference when daddy ain't home. Trust me. But anyway, listen, that's our time. We appreciate y'all for tuning in. Like I said, tonight's show was rated R. We had to get it off our chest, but we keep it real on this show, for real. But listen, until next time, listen, we got a special show Sunday night. We got a woman that has been molested. She's been abused and divorced, and now she moved out of the country. You got to hear this story. Sunday night at, I think, 9 p.m. Eastern time, that we're going to have a special Love and Pain show. So tune in. But until next time, come back to here, same place, same time. We appreciate y'all. Peace.
Peace.